It's 7 o'clock. I'll call this meeting to order. This is the regular meeting, the regular city council meeting for Breezy Point. It's October 2nd, 2017. First order of business is pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we get started with the consent calendar, what I'd like to do is just have a brief moment of silence for all the activities that have been going on in Las Vegas today. Obviously, that is a substantial loss of life and a deep tragedy that affects not only the whole nation, but us individually from the standpoint of we may have to change a lot of the way we do things now, in the future. So if we can just have a brief moment of silence, please. Thank you. The next order of business will be the consent calendar. You have on the consent calendar the council minutes from September 5th, 2017, and you also have the approval of claims totaling $75,312.50, which includes electronic checks 1917E through 1919E, paper checks 133789 through 133798, and 133801 through 133835. We also have the partial pay to Pratt's paving for $20,703.35. Is there anything that anybody would like to pull off the consent calendar and discuss separately? Councilman Maroney?
No.
Councilman Mitchell?
No.
Councilman Bakken?
No, sir.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent calendar as shown.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Next item is open forum. Anybody having anything to bring before the city at this point, they may do so. Anybody wishing to speak for open forum? Open forum is closed. Mayor and city council reports. The first thing I'd like to do is to give accolades to our public works department following this storm that we just recently had. We had a lot of trees down, a lot of work was done in an extraordinary manner. And I just want to thank Joe Zierden and his entire crew for clearing the streets, taking care of the down trees, and getting things, straightened out. Especially up on Circle Drive up on the Fawcett Hill. That was a complete mess, and a lot of damage. Is going to take a long time to fix that up. Next thing I'd like to do is give congratulations to Councilmember Rebecca Ball in welcoming a new baby boy. She's not here tonight, obviously. Her baby was born on September 30th, 7 pounds, 11 ounces. So congratulations to Councilmember Ball. Next thing is we had looked in, last meeting we had talked about getting a light over by the fishing pier. And staff looked into it, and it is very doable. You can read through the memo from Joe. It's a little bit confusing. I kind of boiled it down. We have a couple different options. Option one is to utilize the existing pole with an LED security light. In order to do that, it would need a transformer, and the cost of installing the transformer would be $225, and then it would be $26 a month. Option two would be utilizing the existing pole using a sodium vapor street light. It's a little bit brighter. Again, it would need a transformer, but it's a little bit higher cost. So the cost on there would again be the $225, then it would be $29 a month. They did throw in another option, as that existing pole is a little ways away from the from the fishing pier itself. And to put in a new pole, it would be anywhere from $1,100 to $1,325, and that would install an LED security light. Under option 2, they are going to be getting in LED street lights, which would cost roughly $225 to $300 to install. It's a little bit different style of light. And again, that's, it wasn't clear here, between $26 to $29 a month on something like that. So at this point, I'm going to open it up to discussion and ask council, what would we like to do? I'll start with you, Councilman Maroney.
Driving by the area, I agree that the light is a good investment for us as a city. I believe we should have an additional pole to get it closer to where the boardwalk is. It would be interesting to see what the new Cobra style LED intersection light would run. But even if it's around that $29 mark, I think the best lighting possible would be a great asset to that area.
Okay, Councilman Mitchell.
Did he have an approximate date when the new LED lights would come out?
He said any day, but he really wasn't clear.
Well, if we put in this light and then he puts in LED lights, are we going to have to replace it with a LED light?
No, I mean, whatever we put in is what we're gonna
be
live
permanent.
with. Yep.
Councilman Bucket.
Joe, Mr. Zierden, do you have any input here? What do you think about moving a new pole?
I think that would, that'd be fine.
New pole.
Yeah, that'd probably give you the best light. I mean, that's your
Thank you.
intention is to light up the boardwalk. I think that would probably do the best job.
John, here, thank you. Ready to make a motion?
Chief, you'd be in favor of light in that area, wouldn't you?
I don't think it's going to be an issue as far as crime goes. For people fishing, it certainly would be a convenience.
Okay. Okay, so from what I'm hearing from the discussion is we would like to go with the option, basically option 3, to install the new pole and have the LED street light when it becomes available. If so, I'll entertain a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Second? Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Opposed? So move forward with
Okay.
putting on the new light. Next item is for Planning and Zoning Commissioner appointment with the resignation of Carol Metzger from the Planning Commission. We've been looking for a replacement commissioner to fill out the commission. Tracy Donovan has made this application for this position. Tracy has been a Pelican Township supervisor for about 8 years and has had experience dealing with the public. He says he's interested in the well-being of Breezy Point and has experience with construction, building, and development. I personally know Tracy for several years, and I could not be more happy to have a person of his caliber coming on to the Planning and Zoning Commission. So I'll entertain a motion to appoint Tracy Donovan as the Planning and Zoning Commissioner to fill out Carol Metzger's position.
So moved.
Second?
Further discussion? Councilman Hawkins?
I know him also, know him well. Good appointment.
Councilman Mitchell? Councilman Maroney?
Nothing further to add?
All those in favor of appointing Tracy Donovan as the new Planning Commissioner, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Welcome to Planning Commission, Tracy Donovan. Plans and specifications for the Copperwood Edition. You have the plans and specifications for the new development that is going to be going in over by Weaver's Point. And I'm not going to go into all the details. One question I did have was the developer has yet to provide us with a stormwater management plan, but I understand that has been actually included in the plans. A permit has not been issued for it yet, but that that plan is indeed acceptable. So at this point, if there's any questions, I would ask that our city engineer be able to field those questions. So, Councilman Maroney.
I have no further questions as long as staff has reviewed the applications and everything incorporated. I've got nothing further to add.
Councilman Mitchell.
No.
Councilman Bakken.
None.
Okay. I would entertain a motion to approve the plans as written.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor of approving the plans, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The plans are approved. Our next order of business is White Birch Village. Evidently, the sales are going quite well. And they've been modifying the plans so that they would not look repetitive, and a lot of interest has been made with having units with side garages. And the remaining plots no longer have that option available. So this change to the plot is requested to allow those changes, to allow those side garages. Developer has requested approval of the preliminary and final plot to a replot with the remaining 6 units, 1 through 6 of the plot 1107.
Damn it.
The planning community of White Birch Village. The planning commission has reviewed and approved the amended preliminary and final plots. Resolution 1719 has been provided for consideration by the council. I'll entertain a motion to approve resolution 1719, and then I'll open for discussion.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, Councilman Maroney, you've had this before, planning and zoning.
Yep, had this at planning and zoning last month. Again, nothing really changes as far as footprints, impervious. It's just a restructure of it, just doing housework to make it right.
Sounds good. Councilman Mitchell.
None.
Councilman Bakken.
Oh, sir?
Resolution to approve 1719. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? 1719 is approved. Next item of business is the Grassmaster contract for the cemetery maintenance. The city has used Grassmaster to maintain the cemetery since its inception, and the Cemetery Commission has been more than pleased with Grassmaster's service. This renewal of the contract and gives them a 3% increase, and the contract would run through 2018 and 2019. Consideration would be appreciated. I'll entertain a motion to approve the contract for Grassmasters.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second?
Comments? Councilman Bakken?
It's a little overdue. He met with us at the cemetery commission meeting, and it's a buy, is all I can say, a real bargain.
Councilman Mitchell? Councilman Maroney?
And just for the record, he has not had an increase for the last year at least.
No, so, no, it's been quite a while. And there's some other stuff in there too, but no need to talk about it, I don't think, Counselor Kathy,
Right.
Never mind, we're not even gonna talk about it. All in favor, right?
Yes. I will have to say, Jason Baca has done an absolutely marvelous job supporting the
Amen.
cemetery.
He's very
And,
supportive.
everything he does out there is just superlative. So, all those in favor of approving the contract, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Retirement and replacement. Joe,
What's that?
Yes.
our city administrator is saying he wants to retire. I don't approve that, but
Me either.
Denied.
it's a small voice. So to start the ball rolling on the retirement of Joe Rudberg, set a date of March 15th, and we have the chance to go through David Drow and Associates, Human Resources, partnering with NJPA to provide us a premier assistance in the hiring process. We have we get a grant essentially from NJPA. And what this is going to do is to bring on David Drown Associates to start a search for a new city administrator. All those in favor of hiring David Drown Associates to do a search for a new administrator would be appreciated. Is there a motion to that effect?
Yes,
No?
so moved.
For a second?
Second.
Further discussion? Councilman Maroney?
Again, just to clarify, with NJPA though, they are going to be cost sharing up to $7,500, but the remaining balance would be $9,500 due to the city. So I think it's a well worth investment to have additional help coming in and finding a replacement for Joe. And as part of the personnel committee, Joe wanted to hold off one more month, and I said, let's just get everybody on board just to make sure nothing creeps up on us. So we have plenty of time to find the correct applicant for this.
Councilman Mitchell?
Yeah, after reading their plans and qualifications, I'm totally in favor of it.
Councilman
The same, just a couple of questions for clarity. They are in essence the headhunter that the city employs, am I correct?
Yes.
Yes.
And they bring the applicants to the personnel committee, yourself, Councilor Maroney, the mayor, and the administrator. Am I understanding that correct?
Yes.
Question to you three gentlemen who are on that committee, when they bring as far as the background checks, they clear all that stuff for you, but do you get recommendations from the applicant that's chosen and then research that? It would be foolish to think you don't, but.
I'm not, let me try to answer your question. I'm
Yeah.
not sure what you
Please.
asked. They will bring probably about 10 candidates to the personnel committee. We'll weed that down to 5 or 6 to interview. The full council will do the interviews. They will do background checks on all the candidates prior to the interviews, so we know what we're dealing with. If your question is references after.
That's what I'm looking for,
I'm
reference.
sure that they will do that as well.
I'd like to know that for certain.
Well, I can't remember how the report was written, but they were doing,
There is a reference check of all finalists. TDA
Yes,
conduct
well-
reference checks with current and former employees.
Their
And so we'll-
procedures are pretty well described.
As part of the personnel committee, we will validate that gets.
Thank you very much, that's all I have. I'm
Okay.
glad to support it.
All those in favor of
Yeah.
hiring David Drown Associates to do a search for a new administrator, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? David Drown is on board.
Here we go.
Now, new phone system and numbers. As we're, you remember, we've been installing a new phone system here, and the phone system has finally been installed in both City Hall and the Public Safety Building. And so the transition is supposed to be occurring on the 28th. With that transition, number of changes in phone lines and service with the from TDS to Voyant, our new provider, will occur. And when they say, if you like your phone number, you can keep your phone number, well, it's not necessarily true. With the transition to the city wanted to maintain the existing phone numbers, but TDS is unwilling to part with those numbers from their exchange. So we do have to have a workaround, and it basically is like call forwarding. Call the old number and then it forwards it automatically to the new number. And the person making the phone call doesn't even see that. For that service, they charge $15.64 per line per month, and we would have 3 lines that will be using this rollover line for a cost of an additional cost of $46.92. And the game plan is to keep this up until after the first of the year, and then we would be fully transitioned over to the new lines. Joe, you want to add anything? I know we've
Well,
talked about
just a
this.
clarification, it's 4692 per building, and so Kevin would have that charge and we would have that charge.
Oh, okay.
So it's $100 basically per month to maintain our current line. If we wanted to change it, I mean, I understand that we've had the 562 exchange and the number for decades, and so it's something I felt the council really needed to weigh in. Maybe Michael can add some technical questions or
That was
issues.
the next thing I was going to do, is to get some technical update from our resident expert here.
Sure.
Councilman Maroney, can you enlighten us maybe a little bit more on this?
I tried to stay away from this.
I know.
Again, as a ILEC incumbent of TDS, they don't have the obligation to port out unless somebody has the CLEC authority in this territory. Voyant does not have a CLEC authority in this area, so the closest exchange was Nisswa. That'll be that we have that. As the memo states here, we can have, it's a little bit different language, what TDS calls it, of the call forwarding remote path. Basically, if anybody calls our previous number, it points it to our new main number, if you would, and allows those calls to continue coming through as if nothing's changed. Outgoing calls, we can still make it show that we are calling from our main number, i.e. if any of the police officers were to call out from their private extension, it'll still show as the main police line, so nobody's trying to call back directly to that one officer. While the officers can still give out their direct extension, it's not a given automatically with caller ID displays. Just being around the telco industry for a number of years here, I believe keeping the numbers would be an asset. I believe with us having them as long as we have, I believe it should be kept. There still may be some things to work around, and in the future, if Voyant does get the CLEC authority, we can always port out at that time. So to just give them up at this point, I would not advise that. I would say keep them, and hopefully in the future we can get them properly taken over.
Right. And I think that's the game plan, is to keep them until after the first of the year.
Well, I think Michael's saying to
I'm actually
continue on.
suggesting to keep them indefinitely,
Indefinitely.
or until a new resolution comes up that we can take those numbers away.
Okay, and what type of event would it, when we would say, get rid of the
Once,
those-
if TDS allows those port outs to happen to
Okay.
the Voyant systems. Times change. Charter was never able to offer phone service. They recently got able to provide phone services in this incumbent exchange from TDS. So as time goes on, I think we'll be able to see that number be ported away.
Okay.
I would hope.
Okay. So I think from what I hear you saying is we would just keep paying that $100 a month and until we get to a point where they would port it over for free.
Correct.
Okay. The question on the table is, how would we like to proceed? I'll go to you, Councilman Mitchell.
Well, I had a question, if we would change, would it be possible to send out to the, when you send out the billing, the new phone numbers on some kind of a sheet that could be stuck in their phone directory so they know right away?
Sure.
Otherwise, people lose them and they're gone.
Sure.
And also to the people other than the billing, but that have an interest.
Refrigerator maid.
Certainly, yeah, and we planned on posting on the website and doing whatever we could if we did make the change, yeah.
Now, maybe a question back to you, Mike. Is that call volume monitored such that if we started advertising the new numbers and emphasize those when we got down to like a zero volume?
You're more or less asking if TDS would do that because
Okay.
Voyant will see an incoming call regardless, whether it was dialed to the 562-4441 number.
Okay.
They'll still see it as an inbound call, so Voyant wouldn't be able to tell you that.
But TDS possibly could.
Possibly could. Again, they do things differently from where I work, so I can't say that they will, but could it be done? Most likely.
Okay. Councilman Mitchell? Councilman Buchan, yeah. Gary Colonel.
I have no, Gary Arnold, thank you. I have no questions,
Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
So what are we looking for here, Joe? Are we
Well,
looking
just
for
a motion to stay with or a motion to change?
I'll entertain a motion to stay with keeping the 562 number indefinitely.
So moved.
Is there a second to that?
Second.
Any further discussion?
Joe, what do you think about it?
It's fine. It really doesn't affect our operations. The only thing is it costs $1,200 a year, and I'd like to save it, but on the other hand, people know our number. They've used it for decades. I think there's something to be said for keeping it, and so I'm fine with that.
Agreed.
All right. All those in favor of keeping the number indefinitely, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We shall keep the number indefinitely until maybe something change.
Point of clarification, if we can, Mayor.
Yeah.
With the new phone system, with all these changes that have been taking place, we're still at or under what we were currently paying, but yet we have more services.
We're about even. The $1,200 kind of pushes us a little over, but we have a lot more services. Correct.
Okay. Next item is an annual review of our fee schedule for 2018. We do this in the fall of every year. There's only a couple changes that are made to our fee schedule. One is the addition of a culvert apron collar, which I assume goes onto a culvert or something like that. I'm not too concerned, but it is now going to be offered for sale at $65 or at $100. And the other one is the mailbox supports. The cost of that has increased. And then the other change has to do with the columbarium niches. Their cost has been increased by about $10 each. I'll entertain a motion to approve Resolution 1718, setting the fees for 2018.
So moved.
Second.
Second?
Discussion? Councilman Buchan?
None?
Councilman Mitchell?
Mailbox supports, explain that to me. Is it just the city mailboxes or the public mailboxes or?
You want to explain that, Joe?
It's a specific type of mailbox that if a plow hits it, it doesn't break, it swings away. It's the type that we recommend. They work well, they're easier to keep clear of snow, and they're far less prone to damage. And we secure them from a manufacturer and we install them. They're the metal post types you see.
I've seen them, okay, and you guys install them?
Yep,
And they will hold any size mailbox within reason?
yes. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not mandated, but we offer it as a service.
How much does that cost?
$100 installed.
Really?
Yeah.
I just call up and order one?
Yes.
All I need to know, thank you.
Councilman Maroney? All those in favor of Resolution 1718, setting the fees for 2018, say aye.
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 Opposed. Next item is the development agreement for Copper Road Edition. You have a copy of the development agreement for Copper Road, the Copper Road Edition. That's the addition that is going in that we just previously talked about for the plans and specification over by Weaver's Road. This basically is a draft, and there's been some minor changes to it. Joe, why don't you help me out here?
Sure. It's a developer. The developer intends on installing his own utilities, and as such, he needs to abide by certain restrictions and requirements. Meeting plans and specs are one of them. He has to post the surety to make sure that the utilities are installed. He has to provide us, the city, with escrow accounts to pay for our city costs associated with this development. Parkland dedication is part of that agreement as well. And so it just lays out the conditions by which the developer does the project and meets our expectations in terms of final construction. It also meets the legal requirements that are required by law. The surety is one of them. City attorney has reviewed this. Rebecca Ball reviewed it as well. And the only change that he recommended was that the Greater Des Moines Ice Center LLC is a Colorado LLC, which I didn't include. That'll be changed. Other than that, he was fine with the agreement.
So what's before us right now is to approve the development agreement. It's basically been looked at by just about everybody at this point.
Yep.
So I'll entertain a motion to approve the development agreement for the Copper Root addition.
So moved.
Second?
Discussion. Councilman Buchan.
None?
Councilman Mitchell.
No.
Councilman Maroney.
None.
The development agreement for the Copper Road addition is approved. And that completes our agenda for tonight.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
If I may, want to interject a couple of comments here before we adjourn. I have a couple of quick notices. The Minnesota Association Cemeteries was up at the resort weekend past, and that Friday, they all came out, well, as many could get in the bus and drove the cars out to the cemetery and looked at it again. They were here 9 or 10 years ago. Ron Jerdy was there, and it was a very successful meeting. Darlene Erickson and Case Bezo, the cemetery chair, was there, and they entertained all their questions. Very successful, 30 minutes, and they were parting on the Breezy Bell. The last little item I have for the Cemetery Commission meeting passed, Darlene Erickson was appointed, Mr. Mayor, as the liaison from the Cemetery Commission to the comprehensive plan in progress. That's all I have, thank you.
Which points out the fact that I skipped over the council members.
Notice how I was mute about that?
Yes, thank you very much. You should have interrupted me and said, okay, you skipped over something.
Heavens to Betsy, no.
I was gonna bring it up too.
So we will, drop back and any comments, Councilman Brony from personnel?
I don't think so, no.
No,
No, do I have, no.
Councilman Mitchell, anything on roads? Okay. I apologize for skipping.
Oh, no, absolutely not. No, not necessary. Just a side comment. I would be willing to bet that our capable reporter from the Echo probably has that noted, and she can now strike that from her minutes. Thank you.
Welcome. This completes the agenda for tonight. I thank you very much for showing up tonight. Thank you.
Good meeting.
Meeting is adjourned.